This video is sponsored by Surfshark. The past couple of weeks have been challenging for WarnerMedia. Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore underperformed. Ezra went nuts. Amber is increasingly becoming a liability. Their CEO, Ann Sarnoff, got fired. And new boss, David Zaslav, will no doubt fire many more before long. But if nothing else, WarnerMedia and Discovery can take solace in the fact that they are not Disney, because rarely has the brand name of a major corporation been dragged through the dirt as much as Disney has in the past couple of weeks. With Marvel's Moon Knight on Disney+, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness about to open, and Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi just around the corner, this is not the time for their image of family-friendly company to be called into question, but that's exactly what is happening. Making matters worse is that all of Disney's problems come from within the company, from its own employees, and from a management that is kowtowing to them. In this video, we'll begin by going through how Disney could get to a point where a modest number of employees could hold the entire corporation hostage, how Disney is seemingly giving in to their demands, and the backlash that is increasingly coming their way because of this. And just to set the stage for the backlash, only Disney knows the real numbers, of course, but we have heard rumors that upwards of multiple hundreds of thousands may have canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions, and after seeing this video, you might even be tempted to do so too. But even if you still want to see them out of obligation, be wary of taking to the high seas for your next Marvel or Star Wars fix. That's something that neither Midnight's Edge, our sponsors, nor any other affiliates condones. Not only is piracy wrong, you could be exposing yourself to endless spyware, tracking software, and other malware out there on the high seas. And that's on top of all the data that is stolen from you during all of your regular browsing. Well, modern problems require modern solutions, and many of them can be found in a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark. A VPN, or virtual private network, is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety and encrypts all data sent via the internet. On top of that, Surfshark allows you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which also gives you access to 15 different Netflix libraries by simply changing your virtual location. Not only that, outside of the US, Star, the international version of Hulu, comes bundled with Disney+. If you're in the US and change your location to, say, the UK, well, then you might just get that too. One of the advantages with Surfshark over many other VPN providers is that it allows one account to be used on unlimited devices. That's part of the reason why Surfshark is the VPN of our choice, and it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive offer in which you now get 83% off the normal list price, plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Do check out the link in the description below for further details and to order. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and with that, let's get back to Disney's problems. To very briefly recap some of the main points of our previous video, Disney's previous CEO Bob Iger will be remembered for having made acquisitions which caused Disney to grow tremendously in value, but he should also be remembered for filling the company up with ideopolitical activists at all levels. Possibly as a means to further Iger's own political aspirations, he enabled these activists, many of whom are creatives and executives, to shift Disney from politically neutral to all-out activist, much to the dismay of the real storytellers and true believers that were already there. This is what set the stage for the Secret War, or Cold Secret War, we've been covering for years now. Quite a few in Marvel, Lucasfilm, and the rest of the company are real storytellers who love the properties they work on, as well as Disney's heritage and legacy. True believers who've been trying to preserve what the activists are explicitly trying to subvert in the name of the message. Be that as it may, some of Disney's major shareholders are all about this overt politicization, as it may directly benefit select other non-Disney investments. But this is not true for all the major shareholders. Some of them would like to see some dividend from their Disney shares directly, and these shareholders were able to install Bob Chapek as the new CEO to replace Bob Iger. Since Iger had filled the company with so many activists at all levels that Disney simply couldn't function if they were all to be purged in one fell swoop, Chapek instead added new levels of bureaucracy aimed at keeping these crazies in check, all while moving the company back to politically neutral. The activists did not take kindly to that and organized their own resistance movement, doing petitions and whatnot, waiting for something big that could be weaponized. The mislabeled and frequently misunderstood bill prohibits schools from withholding from parents what their children in years 1 to 3 of elementary school are taught. There are some restrictions, but fundamentally the bill requires transparency, meaning parents simply have to be told what their children, who are barely out of diapers, are being taught. But the deliberate mischaracterization the bill has been subjected to has had the effect of driving the activists into a frenzy, vilifying anyone not wildly opposed to it. Since Chapek was in the process of taking Disney back to politically neutral, Disney didn't wildly oppose the bill, which again requires parents to be told what their 5-year-olds are being taught, and that gave the activists the excuse they needed to go on the attack. The highly organized Disney walkout group came out of the dark and presented their list of demands, both in terms of how Disney is to be run, the messaging in Disney products, as well as organizations and interest groups to fund and politicians not to fund. It reads very much like a hostage letter, and to show they meant business, they were calling for thousands upon thousands of Disney employees to walk out and take to the streets, both in Disney's LA and Florida locations, and this was after Chapek had already largely bent the knee. But that wasn't enough. The Disney walkout group demanded more and proceeded with the walkouts. As it turned out, one employee walked out in Florida. About 60 to 70 LA employees walked out in LA. This included the Kathleen Kennedy faction of Lucasfilm, which proudly took a selfie and tweeted, "Lucasfilm walkout. Time to watch The Last Jedi again because this is a movement of leaders. Anyone can be powerful. No one owns the labor force besides ourselves." Also held was an internal town hall meeting where all of the activists within Disney could talk about their agenda, proudly brag about the messaging they put into Disney products, and how their goal is that there should be at the very least 50% representation in all of Disney's output, and more in that vein. Even a hostage video of Bob Chapek himself was published, in which he kowtows completely to the activists, promising that he will be a better ally. Again, all of this is done to appease the activists within Disney in a closed meeting that no one else was invited to witness or attend. We know all of this because shortly afterwards, the most extreme highlights from this event, the clips that would gather the most backlash, were strategically leaked to the public, and predictably, the backlash came. Ever since the 1967 Reedy Creek Improvement Act, Disney has been allowed to run more or less like an independent nation on Florida soil, governing themselves. This act gives significant tax benefits, as well as an exemption from the rules and regulations that affects all other companies in the state. But what Florida giveth, Florida can taketh away. And annoyed with Disney's newfound political activism and opposition, as evidenced by these leaks, Florida authorities have started discussing repealing this act, as reported by That Park Place. We're still far away from that actually happening, but that it's even being discussed should cause Disney shareholders to worry. But these leaks have, in part, facilitated backlash and newfound reasons to worry outside of Florida too. With their newfound activism, Disney started poking into Texas affairs, which means Texas will poke right back. The Texas Scorecard reports that Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick could take on woke corporations by mandating Texas state pension funds divesting from them. And high up on that list of woke corporations is Disney, which the Texas Lieutenant Governor added he is personally done with. Texas state pensions currently have $93 million invested in Disney, which might not seem like a lot, but it is enough to affect the share price, and worst yet, to send a signal that other state pension funds would be sure to follow, and that would really do a number on Disney's share price. But it gets even worse. The Washington Examiner reports that the Republican Party as a whole have had it up to here with Disney, and may withhold their support for further copyright extensions in response. By rights, Mickey Mouse himself should have been in the public domain long ago by now, but Disney has retained ownership due to a series of copyright extensions, and it's the next extension that is being put on the line here, over their recent actions in Florida and over the information made public in the leaked videos. There is also resistance from within Disney. You'll recall the Disney walkouts didn't cause all that many to actually walk out, but here's what the counter-protests look like.
Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney! Boycott Disney!
And I'm a cast member here at for Disneyland actually. I've been with them for quite a long time, and it's gotten very political, and it's gotten very hard to be who you are. It's gotten very hard to be someone who has conservative values, someone who believes in the right to choose, somebody who believes that it's okay to stand up for righteousness. It is okay to stand up for righteousness. To any Disney cast members that are afraid to be bold, that are afraid to be courageous, stand up. It's okay. You're not alone.
On top of that, we've heard unconfirmed rumors that hundreds of thousands of households have canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions, as well as reports of many churches encouraging their parishioners to steer clear of Disney content, as it can no longer be trusted to be family-friendly. The timing of this worked out great for the Daily Wire, who took the opportunity to announce that they are investing $100 million into children's entertainment. But will all of this mean anything to Disney? First and foremost, the activists from within Disney don't care one iota about the backlash, because the financial health of whichever company they work for means nothing to them, only their activism does. If anything, seeing the resistance is going to make them double down even harder. The ones that should be rattled by this, though, are Disney's major shareholders. If Florida removes Disney's special privileges, if Texas starts a domino effect of states removing their pension funds, if the GOP facilitates other companies suddenly starting to put out competing Mickey Mouse products, the sum of all that is going to cause some real pain, and never before has Disney been threatened by all of this all at once. This kind of backlash is uncharted territory for Disney, so you can rest assured that this has the attention of the majority of shareholders. But what will they do about it? What will not have escaped the shareholders is that what has provoked all of this backlash is Disney trying to interfere with Florida politics and the agenda of their activist staff being exposed to the world in the town hall leaks. What we are saying is we would not put it past Bob Chapek to have kowtowed as he did specifically to provoke the very kind of backlash from elected officials we are now seeing in order to compel the Disney shareholders into action. Let's take a moment to follow that line of thought. Everyone knows the video of him groveling is hostage video. And as we covered in our earlier coverage, there have been past examples of very strategic leaks which appear to give Bob Chapek a black eye in one news cycle, but then that very news cycle sparks a chain reaction which gives him a big win down the line. To the extent of which Bob Chapek has a pattern, it is that. Case in point, all the threats from Florida, Texas, and GOP are for now just that, threats. Talks have happened, but no action that can't be undone has been initiated. If Disney were to walk things back again, and if the right conversations then were to be had between Disney and the appropriate officials, nothing need to come from any of the threats. But that's if they actively walk things back. As it is, the majority of shareholders know that if Disney continues down this path that Chapek's apparent surrender signals they are on, there'll be a heavy price to pay for it down the line. Again, note that this is but informed speculation, as we do not know for a fact that this is what is happening here. For all we know, it could be that Bob Chapek genuinely did surrender and sincerely gave in to the activist demands. But if he really did that, if he really surrendered, he would have failed in his mandate and everything he has tried to achieve since taking over. He would have failed in the one job the shareholders hired him to do, and he would have failed at it so badly and in such a public manner that there would be no coming back from it. Not just at Disney, he would never be hired again anywhere. Therefore, it would certainly be in Chapek's best interest to have made a strategic retreat here, in the hopes that the predictable backlash will inspire the shareholders to give him the support and mandate required to walk the Disney Corporation back from the brink. What might not work in Chapek's favor, though, is that while the official backlash has been fine and, as expected, the audience backlash has been lacking, as it hasn't been nearly enough. We've heard rumors of hundreds of thousands of Disney Plus cancellations, but we have not heard rumors of millions of cancellations, and that is what would be required to get the board's undivided attention. Likewise, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness tickets are already selling like hotcakes, indicating that the majority of moviegoers either don't know or don't care, and the shareholders will be sure to take notice of that too. If Chapek doesn't get the shareholder support and mandate he needs, it doesn't matter if he tried to play 4D chess and failed, or if he genuinely capitulated, as there will be no outwardly difference. He'd be finished. And then, if they continue down this path, so too will Disney be. Unless they hire a hatchet man who's not afraid of bloodbaths to replace him. What do you make of all this? And what do you think might happen? Let us know in the comments. And before you go, remember that to help bypass quarrelsome geo-blocking restrictions, you should get Surfshark VPN. Use our code MIDNIGHT to get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Link is in the description.